Hello and welcome. I am your host, the Sith Sea, back with another video, and today is another discussion video about Marvel and the TV side of it. So I think that's something I've wanted to do more of on the channel. I've literally made a video about why Daredevil is my favourite character, and a huge part of that was the influence that the Marvel Netflix show of Daredevil had on me. It's an incredible show, and I highly recommend that everyone checks it out. But everything else was pretty good as well, and so I feel it's really cool to be able to discuss it in a tier maker format. So I'm going to be ranking all of the Marvel Netflix shows and their seasons in today's video. So this is going to be done in the order of release. I think that's the order that makes most sense to me. This is just my opinion. You may have a different opinion. I'd greatly appreciate any comments on who your favourite character in these shows is, or which season's your favourite, all that sort of stuff. It's really great to have healthy discussion, and my answer's not the right answer. It's just my opinion. So, first of all, let's start with Daredevil Season 1. This is an incredible start to any season of TV. This is they do such a great job of introducing us to the gritty world of the MCU, which by the way, I hope that this is still all considered part of the MCU. I really want to see all of these characters' stories continued in the MCU. This is such a great introduction to a street-level hero fighting at night with his bare hands and his sheer skill and his body and all of that, and it's an awesome. Charlie Cox is Daredevil. Charlie Cox is such a fantastic casting for this character of Daredevil as Matt Murdock. He plays a blind man exceptionally well, and I think just as well, Kingpin, Wilson Fisk as Kingpin. The thing is, this season is so amazing because it takes its time to develop the relationships between the characters, Foggy, Karen, Matt. Also, what's really great about the first season is that you have a really interesting dynamic between all of the villains, and you really get to see the hierarchy of how everything works and how everything's all intertwined, and how Fisk is gradually gaining more and more control. It's really thrilling. So you have a captivating main character, and you have a captivating villain, and you bring the two together, and it is incredibly well done. Also, every shot in this season could be taught in film school. It is astonishingly brilliant. So start introducing us to this Netflix Marvel world and introducing us to Daredevil himself. This has to go in excellent. Next we have Jessica Jones Season 1. Brilliant season. Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter. Kristen Ritter is a fantastic cast for Jessica Jones, and I really feel that this is a very, very strong season of TV in general. I love the whole PI aspect. I love how Jessica, how we see how she's not your conventional hero. She doesn't play by all the rules. She gets in trouble. She's an alcoholic, and you get to really delve into her struggles in this season. And you have David Tennant cast as Purple Man, as Kilgrave, and a fantastic casting. I actually feel that maybe the later seasons do struggle because they don't have such a strong villain they don't have as strong a villain as this season, and I think this season is great. I don't think it's quite an excellent, but it is a solid season. Go check it out if you haven't already. So next we have Daredevil Season 2. This is this is super. I mean, this is absolutely amazing season. I love everything with Jonathan Bernthal's Punisher. I think Elektra Natchios was really well cast with Elodie Young. Um, I think my favourite stuff though was with John Bernthal's Punisher, and I think that Charlie Cox and John Bernthal as their characters, Matt and Frank, they had such great on-screen chemistry with each other, retorting. I found honestly when the characters were debating with each other about their different ideologies, so captivating. And that was honestly some of the best stuff in the season. Unfortunately, I feel they were trying to do a bit too much, having a lot of the stuff with the Hand, as well as trying to tie up everything with the Punisher. And I feel that maybe it was flip-flopping a bit between the two storylines that I wanted to say, or I wanted to cover. But overall, I mean, these are just nitpicks, because this season is incredible. It really took a darker turn as well, so I'm going to have to put it in the top of the great tier. It is not quite in the excellent tier. Maybe if it was to be in the excellent tier, it'd be at the bottom of that. But honestly, no discredit to this season. It is still an incredible piece of TV. So next on the list, we have Luke Cage Season 1. And you know what? I think it's really nice to have that introduction of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones Season 1, and I really do find the character interesting. I particularly love going back and learning about his backstory and how we have people trying to use prisoners like himself in in a way that's completely unethical, trying to replicate the Captain America Super Soldier Serum, and how it actually helps him get out of prison. I love that we see he's actually a really good person. He's just had to he escaped prison because he's innocent. He did nothing wrong, and he was framed. So I really like that. I think that one of the problems though with the whole show for this season is that, well, we swap the characters that we're having for the villains quite a lot. So you have Shade, you have um, you you have Mariah, you have so much. It's a mess. We really have a really great, interesting villain with Cottonmouth, and it's going really well. And then suddenly there's a power shift, and I think it's great, to have twists and turns within your show. But personally, I felt like I was really enjoying that Cottonmouth character, and so it was a bit disappointing there. But overall, I'd say that this season of the show is good. So I think solidly, if it's in the good tier, it's not great. It's a solid good. Next we have Iron Fist Season 1. And it's such a shame because it had so much potential, but it was really obvious that it was made with tight budget. It wasn't able to explore the things that it should have been able to. We also had a very budget looking, Danny Rand costume. I mean, there's no proper look to Iron Fist. I mean, Iron Fist it has such an awesome costume, and I know that they're trying to go for a gritty and sort of realistic version of the character. Of course, with all of these characters, that's what they're doing. But why couldn't they have some sort of cool combat armor like Daredevil has, or something? Or I think I still feel like there were ways that they could have really done a good job with that. Make it feel more like Iron Fist rather than someone who has the powers of Iron Fist but is a normal person. I do like though how they look at Danny's backstory. I like all the supporting characters actually. I find it really interesting how all of that works. Also, I do like seeing some of the flashbacks to Kunlun. I found that really intriguing, and I love how the Hand play into it, and it sets up stuff for the next the next season in the Marvel Netflix universe, so the Defenders. So, but overall, I'm going to have to put it in bad. I wouldn't watch it again. But that's not all that we're going to hear from Iron Fist. There's some great improvements in the second season, in my opinion. So, next we have the Defenders. And, well, I find this to be a lot of fun. I find the Defenders to be a lot of fun. It's great to have the main four heroes in this Marvel Netflix universe come together and interact with each other. And there's some really great fist pump moments. But overall, I mean, this is the Avengers. This is street level Avengers, and I do feel like maybe in some areas I wanted it to carry more weight. I think I love what the Defenders does for Daredevil Season 3 as well. I really feel that it does such a great job at preparing us for that. I feel that what happens with Matt's character in this certainly helps to improve. It helps to build his character overall in the Marvel Netflix universe. Iron Fist as well, having come directly from season 1 of Iron Fist, is greatly improved in this show. It's a shame that we're not going. I highly doubt we're going to get a season 2 ever of this show, which is a shame because I really did like the group dynamic. Mike Coulter as Luke Cage as well had some really good interactions with Iron Fist or Danny Rand, and Finn Jones as Danny Rand. People have an issue with it. I don't mind it. I think he can bring some good stuff to the table. Maybe it's not a perfect cast. I'm not the biggest Iron Fist fan. I haven't read many comics where he has a large role. So I think that he's the comic relief. It works quite well if you ask me. But again, passionate Iron Fist fans may feel differently. Kristen Ritter as well. I love how she's so reluctant. She really couldn't care less about everyone else, really. It's quite funny. I also really like her interactions with Daredevil. I think that those two are fantastic, and I'd love to see. Just imagine if there was a show where Matt and Jessica Jones team up. I think that would be fantastic. A lot of fun. They really did have good chemistry together. The thing that does bring it down though is the hand. Again, like the thing is that again with Elektra and with I think it's Cassandra, the leader of the Hand, having that sort of power balance, and then the change near the end of the season. I don't know. It set up a lot and it set up a lot, and then it took it away from us, and I don't know how I felt about that. But overall, if I want to just have some fun with these characters, I'm going to watch the Defenders, and so I'm going to put it in good. I think above Luke Cage, but it's a solid good. But it had the potential to be great, if not excellent. So next, I believe we have Punisher Season 1, and what I really enjoy about Punisher Season 1 is how it shows you Frank Castle. He's just going about his business, and then he can't help but be drawn into doing what he feels is right. The methods are beyond acceptable in my opinion. The way he does stuff is gritty and probably not the best way. I'm probably more on the side of Daredevil's ideologies, but then again, I'm not exactly going to go out and be a vigilante either. So what am I to say? But Punisher, I really love how it actually becomes a bit of a. It's sort of it's in a way it's like a political crime sort of thriller in a way. Maybe not less political, but certainly it's a bit of a crime thriller. It really looks deep into how organisations work and corruption, and a lot of these really interesting things. I think that the extended cast as well is really interesting, and I think that as well. When you have, well, he becomes Jigsaw, the main villain. So I'm going to call him Jigsaw, but I love the fight between Jigsaw and Punisher. It's such an incredible final fight. Honestly, I'm going to have to put it in great. I think I'll put it underneath Jessica Jones Season 1, just because I feel that that Jessica Jones was more consistent in its build-up, but maybe I need to go and rewatch Punisher Season 1. Okay, so now we have, I believe, Daredevil Season 3. And Daredevil Season 3 is a masterpiece. It is my favourite season of anything in TV. It is absolutely incredible. I love all of the characters. I've watched it lots of times now. Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, fantastic. But the new cast members and the new characters. When you have Ray Nadeem, you have Bullseye, so Agent Poindexter. You have the introduction of Matt's mum, and also a lot of the characters who are already established in the Daredevil world. They become so much more important. But what I love the symbolism in this season, where to do with Matt's inner conflict and Catholic faith and all of his different beliefs and ideologies, and how he's questioning himself and what's okay and what's not, and you really experience how distressed and how dark a place Matt has become after the Defenders, and he's disillusioned. It's such an interesting character study, if you like, and he's really tested in this season with him being framed for the killing of the New York Bulletin, with Bullseye having the suit. You have so much going on in this season, and it ties together so well. Foggy and Karen, again, we have a whole episode dedicated to Karen Page. That's fantastic. What kind of show does that, and does it well? I was so interested in Karen's story. I was just as interested in her story as I was everyone else's, because everyone in this show, every character, and every actor as well, they bring their A game in this season. The cinematography is incredible. The score, I swear, this is the best music as well that we have John Paisano composing. It's incredible. And in the first episode of Daredevil Season 3, you have Subway Feels, and you have Daredevil. He's lost his abilities, and then it's just, I got chills. The Subway Feels, he starts to regain his abilities, and that was the moment I knew Daredevil was my favourite show. It is absolutely incredible. And throughout, I just want to talk about the Daredevil show in general. This show, when I had to go, when I wanted to watch it in chronological order, and I went through all the different shows, but every time I finished each season of Daredevil, I was like, I want to watch the next one. I want to get to that as soon as I can, because I loved it so much. So, without any doubt, this is excellent tier, top of the excellent tier. It's incredible. Next, I think we have Jessica Jones Season 2. If I've got this slightly in a wrong order, I do apologise. There is chronologically correct, so you don't need to worry about that too much. This season of Jessica Jones is such a letdown to me, because I was loving everything they did with Season 1, and it goes back on itself. And it's so disappointing. We have Jessica Jones, who's overcome her past trauma, or certainly made huge strides in overcoming it in the first season, and it doubles back down on everything that's happened to her with her mum and the experimentation that went on her and how she's got superpowers but she's not in control, and becomes very convoluted and it doesn't sit right. I was watching it, I was really actually not enjoying it. Like with all the other shows, I could enjoy it, even Iron Fist season one, but this one it really dragged out for me, and I it wasn't where I wanted to see this character going. I wanted to see Jessica Jones being the PI, doing the investigative work. I didn't want her being sort of drawn into dealing with her mum and sort of trying to learn that sort of mystery, and I think if it was written better, it could have possibly been better. It could have been better, but I don't think it was the right direction. So I would actually go and put this season in terrible. It really was not great, and I found some bits rather distasteful. But now we have Luke Cage Season 2. And, well, the thing is, I really think that my issue that I had with the first season was that there was an inconsistency with the villains, and I feel that this did such a great job at actually establishing a villain and sticking with it, and I really did find Bushmaster incredibly interesting, and he had some great ideas, like you could actually understand him as a villain. Bushmaster was fantastic. He had such a great air and swagger about him, and he really did own the screen. And it really did have that sort of great chemistry as well with Mike Coulter really teasing him. Luke Cage and Bushmaster fighting against each other was always really interesting, and that's quite difficult as well because Luke Cage, he's not a ninja, he's not performing all these crazy martial arts, but then you have Bushmaster who is, and the way that they combat and fight each other is really interesting. I also love how Luke, he was having to team up with Mariah and Shade, and that's really interesting to me because it's really cool when you have your heroes being forced to team up with your villains, and that was a really great and interesting dynamic, and in a way, I think that makes it better than season one. The problem, and I don't know if this is the fault of the season, but the way they choose to end, I think it really would have benefited from another season. We have Luke Cage becoming the head of the dance club, and where basically a lot of crime takes place and a lot of the mob members, and basically you're the king of Harlem if you own this club. So yeah, he becomes the lead, and we're a bit concerned. Is he becoming a bad person? Is Luke becoming a bad person? We don't know, and so overall, I also some interesting stuff with his father that was quite cool to explore. So I think it's good, but I feel that the end really, it's a shame that we didn't really get to properly finish it. So I think I'm going to have to put it at the bottom of the good tier. If it could even be at the top of the okay tier. I'm not quite sure, but I think I'll be generous. I'll put it in the bottom of the good tier. And next, we have probably the biggest surprise for everyone. This is going to be a very controversial opinion of mine. I absolutely loved Iron Fist Season 2. I think one of the things that absolutely the season benefited from was having a shorter season. So it really allowed the season to be a lot more concentrated and focus on everything it wanted to do instead of having lots of filler. And I really enjoyed. Actually, let's see Danny Rand without his Iron Fist. See what this character is like when he's not got these superpowers, when he's just got his incredible training in martial arts. Let's put our characters into situations where they're not fully in control, where they've been robbed of something that they've worked so hard for. It's really cool to see the relationship with Davos, and Davos is you can absolutely understand why he's so frustrated and angry with Dany. You can feel like you absolutely feel the betrayal that Davos feels, but at the same time you also know he is way out of line, and you actually despise him as well as being able to root for him. Colleen as well. Colleen, I didn't really mention her in season 1, but she's fantastic. She's a really great character in this Iron Fist sort of brand, and she really does. She actually becomes the Iron Fist, which is really cool, and we get a lot of backstory for her as well. Really expand on the character, and I think that really does a great job at elevating the show to have some more backstory for her. I really loved this season. I think as well the choreography is much better, the visuals were much better, the feel of the whole thing, and also of course we have Typhoid Mary. That was throwing her into the mix was really quite interesting with the personal with her personal disorders, with the personality disorder. Really interesting to throw her in, and she's a Marvel villain for Daredevil. So I thought it was really interesting to spice things up and put her in, throw her in. Especially since she was going to actually be in Daredevil Season 4, if I remember correctly from interviews. So really cool to have her introduced here. Dany was much improved, and also Rand. Rand as the company, it was really cool to see how that was all going, and also there are some extra characters as well. I don't really feel like I need to talk about them, but it was cool to see the relationships building between Dany and his childhood friends. So overall, I'm going to put this in the great tier, and I'm actually going to put this above Jessica Jones. I loved this season. So yeah, a very unpopular opinion, probably, but it's my opinion. Please go disagree with me down in the comments below. So next we have Punisher Season 2, and there's so many good aspects about this, but there's also stuff I really wasn't big on. I felt that I feel like Jigsaw overall was a bit of a misfire. I feel like having him not remember everything that happened kind of actually took away from his character, and it made everything a lot less impactful. Also, there were a lot of character motivations from some of the supporting cast that really didn't sit right with me. John Bernthal, of course, is excellent as the Punisher, and it was really cool to have Mahoney, a character from Daredevil, in this series. I thought it was really cool. Again, we also had a villain with a motivation, but I feel like he was a bit forgettable. So we have two villains, and again, when you have two villains in a story, it does often leads to it being less focused, and you have two competing storylines for that are fighting for your attention, and it doesn't really feel quite right to me. So it's a shame, because I loved the first season of The Punisher. I don't even think it's quite good. I'm going to put it in the okay tier. Again, a really controversial opinion, but that's just how it is for me. Finally, we have the last season of Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones Season 3, and this truly elevated Jessica Jones for me. I love her relationship struggle with her sister. Honestly, it is so good. I honestly found Trish's character to actually be very annoying in the previous season, Jessica Jones Season 2, and Trish is truly elevated in this season. She's so much more interesting, and it makes... The thing is, you can tell that Jessica, for her, Trish is one of the very few people she really loves. That sisterly bond is so important to her, and so when she's forced to get Trish arrested, and when she becomes a superhero, it's really sad. You really do feel for her, and it actually makes Jessica, actually consider leaving New York and leaving that life and trying to find something new to do with her life. I think as well, our villain is so much better. We have Jessica Jones going out of her way to do PI things, do that private investigation work, and it's so intriguing. And we actually have someone going out of their way and targeting Jessica Jones, who's really made a name for herself. And it's so interesting to have this psychopath, and we have all of the. It's really like a mystery box season. You have a lot of discoveries and really try to get into the head of this psychopath, and we really have Jessica's vulnerable. Like, she's actually really scared of this guy, and it's so interesting. This was exactly the kind of thing I wanted more from Jessica Jones, and I really hope that this character is going to be continued. I don't think I'll ever go back as dark as this now that Disney have got a lot more control over these characters again. But this was insanely good. I loved it. Again, Malcolm. I think that his character was greatly improved. I like how he became a PI and sort of had some rivalries with Jessica. They're sort of they're friends, and then they're not, and it's really interesting to see that relationship as well. But overall, I'm going to put this in the excellent tier. I was really, really impressed with Jessica Jones Season 3, and I think a lot more than other people. I really think people need to give Jessica Jones Season 3 more a chance. It is really cool, and I like how it did manage to try and wrap up a few things for Luke Cage and his storyline when he goes and gives Jessica some advice. It does give us a bit of hope for his character, and sort of in a way kind of wraps things up in a nice way for him. Not the perfect way, but I really love that this season did go out of its way to have that little scene to help with the Jessica Jones and Luke Cage relationship, as well as Luke Cage's fans and what happened with that character. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. Again, this is something that was a lot of fun to do, and if you enjoyed, I'd greatly appreciate your support. If you want me to do more tier lists, I can absolutely do that. I mean, it's a lot of fun. But I also I want to, again, this is part of me trying to do a lot more stuff to do with TV and film. Those are the things that I'm most passionate about, and so it's important for me to be able to make that sort of content on my channel, and I hope that you guys enjoy and support it. As well, this is going to be a longer video, so it does take a lot more work to make and to find that time. So again, please share the video with anyone that you can think of who might be interested. It would greatly support the channel. Thank you very much for watching. Again, I've been your host, the Sith C. Take care.